Uhuru Kenyatta is this morning starting his 4-day tour of coast counties where he will commission various projects. Today, Uhuru will launch the tarmacking of the 135-kilometer Garsen-Witu-Lamu Road in Witu. He will later address a public rally at the trading center. From Lamu, President Kenyatta is slated to inspect the building of Sala Gate Road in Malindi, Kilifi County. The president is expected in Mombasa and Kwale from Friday to Sunday. All right, let's now speak to my colleague Francis Ontomwe, who is joining me from Mombasa. Thank you so much, Francis, for joining us. So talk to us about this particular tour of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Is he already in Lamu, as he was slated to be?
Good morning, Betty. And yes, indeed, President Uhuru Kenyatta is making another comeback to the coast region. Of course, in a span of 5 months, this is the third time you're seeing him coming here. This time around, he begins his diary from Lamu County. We expect him to be arriving in Lamu, and he will be actually commissioning the construction of the Witu-Lamu Garsen Highway, and that is around any time from now. It was actually the schedule had read that he was supposed to be around 10 a.m. He was supposed to have already touched down in Lamu, but then we understand that the residents and those people present there to welcome him are actually still waiting for him to arrive, and any moment he will be making his way there. Then after this, we understand that he'll be headed to Malindi, where he's expected to also commission a number of projects, including road projects. And of course, the entire trip is expected to traverse not just the 2 counties, but several other counties here in the coast region. Largely, his visit is pegged on development issue. That is what is coming from State House. But also, this whole trip actually cannot be divorced from politics, because we are actually counting down weeks or months to the general election. And of course, there is that climate of trying to really set the ground for the Jubilee Party to be able to marshal their support down here and ensure that they run away with the support that has been held by the opposition down here. Therefore, it's a long trip for the president. Of course, this time around, a lot of expectation. The last time he was here, he actually spoke on an array of issues, strongly actually topping on this agenda. On his last trip was the question of drugs. He spoke not once but severally on why it was important to neuter this vice. And around that time, actually, a lot was happening. That is the time that we also had the extradition of the Akasha brothers to the U.S. And therefore, that was indeed a strong statement that had come from the head of state in terms of dealing with the menace of drugs. And also, the last time also the president was here, there were a number of other projects that he initiated, including the issuance of IDs to the Makonde people of South Coast. And therefore, this time around, of course, eyes are fixed on him, on what he will be actually launching this time around, what projects he will be bringing down here and launching for the people of Coast. And of course, some of the statements that will be coming from him as, of course, the race for the August elections actually shapes up.
All right, Francis, let's talk about his last reception. Like you mentioned, in the last 5 months, he's been, there about 3 times now. What kind of reception did he get from, residents in the coastal counties, and especially Mombasa? There was that tiff between him and the governor, Hassan Joho.
Well, of course, when the head of state is down here, a lot normally happens. And of course, we have been seeing what has been happening in his last trips. This time around, we don't expect anything different. Of course, he has been getting rousing welcoming from residents down here in the coast region, who've actually been waiting to see what his basket of promises or his goodies really has for them. But largely, there will be that, of course, a friction, politically speaking, that will be coming from the opposition turf, because we understand, or rather it's known actually that the opposition ran away with the votes in the last general election, and this will be another test for him. The governor of Mombasa, who is Hassan Ali Joho, of course, arrived a couple of days ago from his trip abroad. And therefore, his presence here, now that we understand that they will be actually, both of them will be on the ground here. Of course, we expect what happened in the last time could be actually be replaying this time around. Actually, one particular event that cannot be forgotten was when the Buxton footbridge was being, when the president toured to this particular project, and we saw the governor of Mombasa criticizing the head of state as having come to launch projects that he dubbed as national, as initiated by the national government. But indeed, according to him, he said that those projects were actually owned by international agencies. Therefore, this time around, we don't expect anything different. This time around, it could actually even heighten further, because the more we approach to the general election, the more these sort of talks are likely to continue flaring up.
All right, finally, Francis, sorry, before I let you go, let's talk about these inroads that, the Jubilee is really trying to make in the, opposition strongholds. We've also seen the opposition sort of like raid, the strongholds that are affiliated to Jubilee. How can you analyze, the success or not of this inroads that Jubilee has been trying to make there? Because just recently also the Deputy President William Ruto was there for quite a number of days. Is this really working?
Well, of course, the interest that we are seeing these top coalitions actually resting on the coast region should actually send a message that indeed the coast region looks like it will be of great significance in the next general election. This is the region that they expect really to run away with a number of votes from the opposition, and therefore a lot of focus remains here in the coast region. The inroads, of course, analysts have said not once but severally, you really cannot write them off, because some of the issues that he has been actually kicking off down here could actually earn him some votes. But then there are those quarters that are of course criticize the government, and they say that not much will be coming out of these inroads. Of course, but if you can judge what is happening with the number of elected leaders that have jumped ship from the opposition to Jubilee, then you can actually agree to the fact that indeed the opposition has some work to do in trying to hold the grip of their region. But then also looking at how actually the whole matrix of politics has been playing down here in the coast region, really it's an open ground. It's some sort of an open ground. The opposition still holds some huge grip down here, because we have been seeing actually also the NASA camp coming to the coast region, and really with the storm that has been associated with the opposition, we have seen it always replay. Therefore, it is quite a huge test for both coalitions. But this time around, indeed, Jubilee has to do much more than even just launching projects, because indeed the coast region has been largely saying they have been marginalized by the government, of course, raising a lot of issues, historical injustices, and these are the issues some of the coastarians actually down here say they have not been properly addressed, something that the Jubilee may want really to pull up their socks in a way.